Welcome, viewers, and welcome, Sudhir.
Thank you, sir.
We are in ICISS having a discussion which we have titled as Security Leadership Discussion. And in this series, we invite experts from private security industry, those who provide the manpower and security services, and also from the end user, those who use the manpower, security manpower, or the specific services. And today's discussion is going to be on the subject of what they expect and what they get. Security chiefs often complain that their requirement of a specific service or a specific manpower is not met by the PSI. And my probably rhetorical response used to be that you fail in your specifications. If your specifications are correct, you'll get the right manpower. So you know what you need, and there will be in the market many players who will supply to your needs. So discussion today, dear members of ICI, SS, and other security professionals, with Sudhir Bhasin will reveal the reasons for high expectation of end users and how security service providers are working very hard to provide those specific needs of end users. His insight and experience will make the security professionals realize the reasons for PSI now slowly getting aware of need of setting high professional benchmarks for them and how important is it to come up to the high expectations of their customers. Sudhir is Managing Director of Elite Facilities and Systems Private Limited and National Vice President of Central Association of Private Security Industry, CAPSI in short. This discussion is brought by ICISS, where we welcome all the security and safety professionals world over from diverse background and encourage them to interact freely by asking questions, replying them, and by sharing their knowledge and experience. Before I begin with you, Sudhir, let me share what security professionals and users what end users and security professionals, chiefs of security, security manager, or security directors share their anxiety, their concern, and their lack of response. And mostly it is about getting to know directly from the security personnel provided by PSI about their skill level, about their qualifications. I know that many agencies, private security agencies, many reputed PSI have their own benchmarks, have their own training facilities, and they provide very well-trained manpower. My question to you now, Sudhir, and you are free to take your time to respond as much you want to. How do you see this industry growing up, especially post-corona? And have you noticed any change in specifications or demand from end users so far as quality of security manpower or services are concerned? To you, Sudhir.
Good evening, Captain Tyagi, and greetings to all your viewers. Thank you, first of all, for having me on for this discussion. I hope I'm able to represent both the requirements of the clients and that of the PSI in general as to what ails the PSI in meeting those requirements of the clients. So, this is a very wide spectrum question that you asked me, sir. because one has to really go back into the history of private security industry per se, because it has been a long journey of where we would be kind of hesitant to even declare as to what kind of business we were involved in about 30 years back, because normally we used to be just called the cliched world of thekedar or contractors. you know it's been a journey that all of us have traveled. I have been in this industry for about 31 years now, and over the years, the general perception of the end user and that of people entering into this business has changed drastically. The Unfortunately, where things go wrong is that one it was never a career model for people, the people coming into this industry, because no one coming in from the village actually states that he's going to become a security guard. You would want to join the uniform forces, defense forces and all, but nobody never really came to become a security guard as such. So it was more of transient labor coming in, and hence the reason to get a career in this industry was not very well laid out. And from the client side, it was always that you're getting into taking a private security company. It was you're taking as a hire and fire policy kind of thing, that you're hiring a security agency so that you can remove the people as and when you want them. So the basis of security was lost there and then in the thought process, both from the people who were getting employed and the people who were becoming employers. Because the one who said that we can hire and fire, so the core basis of security was lost, because then you're only taking people in so that you can just do away with the agency or with the people whenever you want. And the people who were getting employed were people coming in who were just passing through, had to look for a job, would come and stay with the relative and take up a job. Now this is the history of where we were when this company when this industry started to take shape. Now we have associations, we have people come together. Security, we have an act passed in parliament. So once we have an act passed in parliament, there are number of controlling authorities all over India. So yes, controlling authorities who are looking at us working within a framework to provide security, because governance is being taken in seriously from the private security industry. uh, Coming to your question, sir, because this is, I was wanted to give a preamble to where we were and how we are now. We have become organized in this manner that nobody can be employed in the organized sector of security without being trained, because we are required to actually upskill the people who are coming into private security industry. For that, there are a number of training institutes which have come up, which are already being governed by audits and all from the governing bodies. I don't know how many of your viewers know about this today. We have matured to the fact that there are three national universities for security management, where you have an undergrad program recognized by the UGC, and where the first batches are going to be rolling out now, where all the end users will be able to go and hire people who are going to be into the security fraternity, which who can join as assistant security officers. They can join in facility management, they can join in other aspects. So post corona, post covid, things have changed to that aspect that we are required to actually spend more time in upskilling the people in terms of how to actually look after the way a person has to actually ensure social distancing and other things. But what really has this disease done has has that it has been able to shake India out of a stupor, that Here's that unsung hero who has been at the gate, who has been working, who was never really noticed earlier. And today, that one person who has throughout the first wave and second wave been the person standing at the gate, only those posts, Captain Tyagi, were left empty, which were posts which were reduced by the end user because of not being able to meet the economics of having all of them on board. But really, let me tell you one thing, that the private security industry, be it any company anywhere in India, has done India proud. Has done India proud because none of these people actually deserted their posts, and they were there. They were just not bothered about their own security and their own well-being. They were doing their job. They stood their ground. They looked after. So, private security industry has come a really, really long way. And I guess if you were asking me questions of other scaling aspects as to what is required for post-COVID, yes, there are a lot of requirements by the clients in terms of what is to be done, because things are being taken very, very seriously now, because this is something that we cannot wish away. It is something to come to stay. So accordingly, all the security companies, at least in the organized sector I can talk of, are taking due care of this, and the training is being done, sir.
Sudhir, the input with me is indicating that 9 million people employed in pre-COVID times. And during COVID times, almost now, if we talk about 18 months,
Sir.
There has been a reduction of 35 to 45% during this period. I'm talking about only the security manpower. And indications are that when corona related restrictions are totally withdrawn, there is going to be huge demand. But this time, this demand will be different than post COVID, where you have a person in uniform who was expected to behave only in certain way. He was taken as security guard, but now industry has seen that these security guards can be utilized for various other duties. You and me have seen how security guards were asked to use the thermometer, use disinfectant. There were cabins which were managed by them for screening. And then when manpower was reduced, security guards were also asked to look after the firefighting and safety related responsibilities. Having seen the potential, the industry now is going to be more demanding. There were already, demands raised, because when you know that today the minimum wage of a security guard is equivalent to skilled manpower. So there was kind of demand, mostly coming from finance, later on realized by security professionals also, that when we are paying the highest possible minimum wage to outsource manpower equal to skill, let's see what skills they possess. So it is not going to be a semi-literate person who can barely read and write, the one who is very easily overawed by the computer, can't open it or close it. Now things are going to be different, and demands are going to be very high. So how you gear up to meet this demand?
Sir, first and foremost, sorry, there's a major dichotomy in the question itself.
Yeah.
Because, the sheer definition of minimum wage, anybody who's following and trying to hide behind that is actually a person who's, unfortunately missing out on the aspect of security per se. First and foremost, minimum wage is a wage to be paid to a particular category of a personnel in the remotest corner of that state. That's, let's be very, very clear on that aspect. Now, you have a, I will take as the geographic thing. I don't know how many of the viewers are international viewers, but just to talk of Delhi, we have something called an NCR. And in NCR, you have a Delhi and a Gurgaon and a Noida abutting each other, or adjoining each other in terms of geographical distance. Delhi would have a minimum wage of a skilled category of maybe of about 19,000, or an unskilled category of about close to 16,000. The same thing in Haryana, in Gurgaon, let me say, would be about close to about 10,000 plus, approaching 11,000, and that would be approximately about 9,000 rupees going to Noida. Now, the people staying in Noida actually in the official setup were working in Gurgaon, but the person staying in Noida can just take a metro and come and work in Delhi, and the wage difference is 6,000 rupees, right? And similarly, a person who's in Gurgaon, where all the Fortune 500 companies are there, right? The person living there are expected to get 11,000, and the person who's working in Delhi is supposed to get 16,000. So now here is where the dichotomy lies, that even if it is 16,000 for an 8 hours duty, a man can't survive in Delhi. At 11,000, sorry, he can't survive in Gurgaon, and at 9,000 he can't survive there. So when you're talking of skilled minimum wages and other things, where what is expected of your clients, I would very, very strongly put my observation here that it is time where everybody stopped featuring or considering security only from the minimum wage level. That my point towards that was that one, on the Code of Wages bill, which is soon to be floated, there is going to be this disparity is soon to be removed, wherein they are getting a national wage for different category of people. So where the entire India is going to be divided, then what's going to happen is that, and then each state is going to be able to then divide the state within number of zones, like you have an income tax in other places, like category A, B, C. Currently, I would not want to go into that. Currently, the problem that we are having is that these people who are there, like I said, they are transient labor. Now they keep getting poached, they keep getting picked up. We don't have a methodology by virtue of which we can say that this gentleman has worked in this industry for this long, and hence this person can get he can demand those kind of wages. So what the industry is demanding per se, in terms of requirement of how a guard should be upskilled, is also very industry specific. It cannot be that a person who's working in a please, you have a point, sir.
Yeah, my point is that the purpose of referring minimum wage was not to discuss further about wage disparities. My purpose of mentioning minimum wage was to analyze the skill sets which are being viewed by end users essential, and they want to have manpower conforming to those requirements. And your capability of providing that skilled manpower. The reference of minimum wage, see, whether it is in Delhi or whether it is in Jamshedpur or remote area of Chhattisgarh, if there is a manpower which is skilled, maybe electrician, maybe data entry operator, maybe for that matter plumber, when they are being paid the skilled manpower, wages for skilled manpower. Security guard is also being paid same. But when we consider that suppose 20,000 rupees is being paid for data entry operator and same 20,000 rupees is being paid to the security guard, the people can find out the difference that here is a man who is working, maybe bilingual and working, very efficiently. His efficiency can be seen. Whereas security guard is just putting on a uniform, that too not very smartly, and his interpersonal skills are very, very limited. So the questions being raised frequently are that why should I pay the security person wage of skilled labor, whereas he is not looking or behaving like a skilled person? So my question was that when, even when it is minimum, that minimum QR must be met as now expected of a skilled manpower. So my question was coming from that point, whereas I understand fully, and you also would be appreciating that when I demand something beyond the average, then I know that I'm going to pay little more than, for that service, which is not usual service. So when I want PSO who should be black belt and he should be able to draw the weapon in record time and he should be able to handle explosives and drive car and drive SUV and also a whole lot of things. So I understand when I make a specification, it is going to cost money. So don't worry about that. Market is ready. And when you know that someone is requiring a specific skill sets from security personnel, my question was, are you ready?
Let me tell you with authority, sir, that the security industry, in the organized sector at least, is absolutely ready to take up any challenge, provided our end users also understand what we are coming up when we coming to meet them and what we are saying across the table. Like I said right in the beginning, security was considered as a wasteful expenditure earlier. Today, it's a essential investment in the running of any business. So when I go and take a contract, and if I'm giving 30 days to actually deploy people, uh, those 30 days are actually to upskill the person according to the standards required by the client that I'm going to deploy the security personnel at. So the training, we already have captive trained manpower, or when the hiring process starts from the industry, you try and first get personnel who have done work in similar industry, and then the upskilling process starts. And only after a rigorous process of getting the people shortlisted by our clients do the final detailment start of people who are actually going to be deployed. So the question that if the security industry is ready or not, we are absolutely ready. Be it in terms of training, of normal training laid out by Pasara, be it fire, be it safety, be it medical emergency to be done as first aid immediate on point, be it COVID related. So any of these aspects that are there, we in fact go forward and ask our client that please tell us, is there something mandated in-house according to your requirements that we need to upskill our people about? Because every company, every client has their own particular requirements too. So that all that is being done, sir. It's not that we don't do all these things to meet the client requirement. But yes, like I said, the lifespan of the security guard, the client will only be able to enjoy the efforts put in by us, because the first deployment will be perfect. The woes that you're talking about, that your clients are coming up with, is that we are not able to then give them a study flow. Now, if the study flow of equally trained manpower is required for a client, it will happen provided the guard actually wants to stay put at their place, knowing very well that his inputs are being uh, requisitely the monetary payment given to him is right, and he does not need to move from one company to another to actually to better his pay grade. Unfortunately, it's a very cost sensitive, or very price sensitive market that we are dealing in, that 200 or 300 or 400 rupees is enough for these manpower to actually switch from one security company to another, because the number of people required on ground are more than the actual inflow of trained manpower coming in. Because people, when we talk of the actual background thing that we have as companies to look into the problems, we have to see as to where is this manpower coming from. Anybody who's in a rich fertile land, be it Punjab, be it Haryana, be it other states. Some states will have all the young people going into the forces. Some people will be predominantly agricultural based. Some people will be some states citizens will be the Indian citizens would be for India, but our countrymen from northeast, they're predominantly wanting to go into health and wellness sector, hotels. Similarly, when I talk of Haryana and Punjab, they're predominantly agriculture based. You go to Rajasthan, you will have more and more people going in Haryana and Punjab, more people going into defense services. So, where are the people who are actually coming into the security industry from? So once they're coming from Bihar, they're coming from Chhattisgarh, they're coming from Jharkhand, they're coming from the states where the amount of commercial activity really has not gone that much. You know, a national contract of a SBI or a mining contract, or anything that's on a national level where the national minimum wages are valid, there people are very happy. You can have cross transferring happening. But if a person is coming from, let's say, Bihar to come and work in Delhi, his cost of living in Delhi is going to be the same as a person originating from Delhi himself. So when I was talking of minimum wages, it's very important to understand for all our end users that to ensure continuity so that you get better security, it is very important to start now recognizing security as a very important aspect of your own company. We are there, we are ready.
Sudhir, Sudhir, uh, I will intervene here because uh, I feel that it is very common to blame end users for not being paying fairly. But tell me, when they decide for security agency, are there any compulsion that you quote zero service charge or you quote lowest? Who does that? Who does that? And in the end, impression is created as if end users are not willing to pay fairly. In fact, they have their limitation. They have to have a benchmark where minimum wage is the benchmark. What is fair wage is not in terms of money defined. They will pay fair wage. And even when it is mentioned fair wage in their tender, that cannot be fixed. Ultimately, across the table, someone who says, I am the cheapest, gets selected.
Sure.
Who does that? So, for that reason only, I intervene here. But then my question goes little further. We have discussed about wage. You have also responded that industry, and as you view as MD of a well-established ESI, and also probably as Vice President of CAPSI. Uh, your insight is fair and very relevant and recent. My question here is that in India, police public ratio is probably one of the lowest in the world,
True.
barring few countries. So low police to people ratio is 150 to uh,
That,
1 lakh. That is what data I gathered indicated. And there is rising urbanization. This spikes demand of tier 1 and tier 2 cities. But there are many industries which are setting up their facilities in remote areas. Remote areas mean that better security. And as security end user and the service provider, we understand that remote area is requiring the best security manpower and most foolproof security system. And that is not going to be linked with the being cheapest. They want best. You will provide the best. So development is going very fast. $1 trillion economy. Ambitious though it looks, but it is not impossible. Probably with the development speed, we are going to go quite near to it. So tier 3 cities or locations are also gearing up for industrialization. Are you ready?
yes, sir, we are ready. You see, it is assumed, like I said, that we are just, the cliched word of a guarding company or people who are only manpower suppliers. Unfortunately, this discussion were to say as to if we are ready for the end user, we are absolutely ready from the aspect that today we are spending a lot of time converting from being only manned guarding company to a man tech guarding companies, because tomorrow if you don't have technology involved, I think you'll get washed out of the race. You have to be there, and with cost increasing, you see human cost will always appreciate in terms of cost of living going up with the technology eventually is the answer, but technology alone cannot be giving security, because the first hand to interface immediately, the man is required there. So what we are doing, be it internet of things, of intelligent biometric being used, the CCTV cameras, the command centers are there, where we are actually having the we have control rooms happening. So the certain guards, not all guards, but certain guards are being kept internet ready, people who can immediately read emails and respond to emails within our own staffing. We have visitor management systems happening, which are very very interactive now, with completely OTP based. So we are ready. There are certain extent where in mining or in distances of where only a QRT can't be taken. In certain places, in closed circuit areas where drones can be used, drones are being used, where people are actually gathering drones with cameras to take up. So a lot of things are happening, sir. So all these things that are being done in hotel industry, because I have a lot of hotels where we provide security as a company. None of our people are actually getting deployed without being trained for baggage scanning. Now, baggage scanning has become a core segment by itself. So, similarly, in different industries and different deployments, different things are being done. Schools, a very very it's a very highly sensitive deployment. There again cameras are being used, the children's cards are being used. So in tier 1, tier 2 cities, with smart cities coming in, the boys are going to be upskilled. Everything is going to be done. The security companies, be it pan India companies, or be it companies of that state, of the tier 2, whichever one we would talk of, they are going to be ready, because if they don't do it, they are not going to be able to survive in the changing environment of security. It is changing every day. So the security companies are going to be
We missed your audio, Sudhir. Your screen also froze. Eh, Anyway, till you work it out, I have recent experience which I wish to share with the viewers. The experience was little frustrating. One of my friend wanted some security agency who is yeah. Let me complete this point and you can
Sorry, I think the
continue.
internet broke. Captain Tyagi, sorry for interjecting. I think the internet broke in between. I didn't hear your question, sir.
Now it's back to normal. So I
Yeah.
was sharing with audience, with viewers, that the recent experience which I had was little discouraging and disheartening. Someone wanted a security manager or executive position, outsource executive position. So what he wanted was a security executive who, first thing, must be a female, second thing, tech savvy, and third thing, that willing to work in industry which is located in the middle of a city in shifts. Now it was very difficult first to get security executive position to be engaged on manpower providers role, though package was very handsome. So getting lady was difficult. Getting lady with the requisite QR was equally difficult. And the worst thing was that I didn't know which security agency is going to provide that type of manpower. So I searched hard, and finally I realized that I am looking for right candidate in wrong place. The technical requirement could be easily fulfilled by IT sector agencies. So they happily send me biodata, CVs. I shortlisted, but end user says that they do not have security experience. So I said orientation toward security is inbuilt and specific training can be provided. Another question was, who will provide the training? So there are customers ready to be very specific and willing to pay for that specific need. Industry needs to be, service provider industry needs to be willing to take up such challenges. So there is going to be demand and there is going to be gap. Gap needs to be fulfilled by agencies who create their USPs. And generally, I ask security agencies, what is your USP? Beside being the cheapest. It is hard hitting question, but I rhetorically ask this question because I am concerned about a gap and shortage felt by end users. They are willing to pay higher. They are willing to be very specific in their requirement, but is industry ready? So that was the question. Partly you were answering before there was technological glitch. Now you can continue where you left. Sudhir, to you.
I could Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So I could partially hear your question. Like I said, that there will be no problem in terms of this our security industry being able to upskill people. There are trainers available. If case you're saying a lady was required in the middle of the city and the end user was not able to get, I'm kind of surprised, because in case the person was willing to pay, and there are ladies who are there now in the private security industry. Young people are coming in. Young people are coming in this industry. If the future is right for them, and there are proper companies which are willing to provide, in the middle of the city, if the only aspect that you require for a lady is a proper pickup and drop in case the night it's supposed to be post sundown and early. So if a person is a lady is coming uh, which the hotel industry does, of course. A lot of IT industries which have their own people and they're working 24/7. We are in a number of IT companies where deployment is there, and we have a number of lady checkers and lady assistants who are actually deployed. They're all getting their all trainings. What I in the number of security conferences that I held is that all security people, it is very, very important today to make them part of your own HR process also. So when you are training, when you're planning trainings for your own hotel or school or corporate staff, the security people deployed with you should not be forgotten. They must be upskilled alongside your own people for the security requirements of that organization. But in terms of out of the only about currently only about 40% of the people have come on the organized aspect of security. We have still in the unorganized sector, so we can't wish away the problem that is there. Is this problem happening?
Very poor connection with you. Huh?
Let me. I am trying to get in from another.
Yeah, do that. Yes, better.
Can you see me now, sir? Can you hear me?
Hold it here. Let's continue.
Your mic will be slightly low because I really can't hear you too much, sir.
Audio is okay, video is okay. Please continue.
Yeah. So coming back to the point that we were discussing in terms of the ladies and what is required in terms of training. So end of the day, training is the moot point here, sir, in the sense that you can't wish away a problem. But in terms of the organized and unorganized sector, where we have a huge population which is still working in security in the unorganized sector, we have a problem on hand. We can't wish it away. So and continuity of service is the hallmark. So we are trying, in CAPSI also we are trying talking about this as to how we can
come down to giving some kind of you know uh, continuity certificate. We don't know when we want to, let's say, deploy people for a oil and pipeline, gas pipeline. So you need people who are trained for that aspect. That it's a, or a high infrastructure kind of a deployment, that it's an entirely different deployment. A person who's working in an RW or a gated community is not a person who's upskilled enough to work for the hotel industry. And similarly, a hotel industry person being transferred to a school again needs upskilling. So you need a constant upskilling, bridging happening in between. Uh, as far as end users are concerned, whoever is the person working for them, irrespective of the company that is there with them, I would seriously suggest to hire training people, training companies who are Pasara approved, to come and give in-house training for about a week. They can't let them go off, but the training is an ongoing process. We are training, yes, we will continue to train, but then, like we said, that the organized sector is doing it, but then there is a requirement of having these people trained on a mass scale. We tried the recognition of prior learning, but it started with a bang, but it really hasn't seen the light of the day, because ideally getting certification only is not the question.
In fact, Sudhir, last week only I discussed with Jan Umang Sethi, and the topic of discussion was this only, recognition of prior learning. And I said that end users are not concerned about the certificates, how many certificates a guard possesses, because a discerning security professional can interact with few seconds or few minutes and find out whether these certificates are bought or fake or of low relative value. Because ultimately, what he is going to engage is the manpower, that the person, and whether that person is trained and skilled can be very easily evidenced. So back to training, that training is aspect about which end users pay attention, not about the training which PSARA Act mentions. 12 hours training barely makes a man ready for using his uniform and saluting. 12 hours training is the minimum, most elementary training with which you can put a man in front of your customer and say that he's a security guard. And you know, and I know that security guards need to have no soft skills. Maybe a security guard who is sufficiently experienced and worked in different sectors, carrying with him knowledge, experience, and skill, but can't prove it because there is no evidence in terms of document. तो रातों रात सर्टिफिकेट छाप दिए, फीस चार्ज कर ली और 9 लाख सर्टिफिकेट डिस्ट्रीब्यूट हो गए पूरे वर्ल्ड में, लोगों ने ताली बजा ली. But in the sector, people live and earn their livelihood. They know that those certificates are of no value. So let's get down to the real training requirement which you or similar security agencies working for and putting a lot of money and hard work. Do you find to get employment for such trained manpower? Because if it is so, then shame on security professionals because they do not make right specifications, even when you are ready to provide them right manpower. So let's be very candid and honest. Do you find real problem?
Sir, to be very frank, there are two sides to a coin. One is to remain in business, and one is to do business as to how it should be done. Now, I'm being candid that all these certificates and other things, there are certain norms that you have to follow to ensure that people do the certification processes to as it is required by the act. So hence it started off in terms of getting certificates so that you remained valid to remain in this business. But did those certificates actually translate into training or not? It's a $1 million question that you and I both know it. You want me to put it in words? Yes, training was not done the way it was supposed to be done. But having said that, to say that training is not being done, it is not so. It's not so. The organized sector is training their people. Companies like mine, yeah, and I actually represent the MSME sector. They are much larger players. Everyone known has either got qualified trainers on board who are actually being trained and upskilled to actually impart training at the client site, where on a weekly basis, on a regular basis, boys are being upskilled. Similarly, we are taking trained people from training institutes. What I have been trying to talk to the NSDC officials and other other officials involved over the years in the training process, where the various state and central government schemes under the Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Vikas Yojana and Pradhan Mantri, the PMKVY and other things were there, where different sector scale councils, previously Triple SDC and now MEPSC is doing training, and other DDU also where the training was being done. The training has to eventually be done at the district level, sir. Because once the people are coming from there, the moment they land up here, you're talking of a 9 million industry where you have a 30% attrition rate or a 25 to 30% averaged out attrition rate, where a CAGR growth of approximately, which we've seen in the last 10 years, close to about 20%. So, what you're really talking about is close to a requirement of upskilling of about 4 million people, on an annual basis. It can be a case study in itself, because really speaking, if we can achieve that, we would have been, it would be it would be a utopian situation, because I don't think we're anywhere close to that. But having said that, I think we have an elephant in the room. We have to figure out that, okay, there has to be a cutoff date where you say, okay, this is where we are, and from here on, anybody entering into this industry, we cannot further dilute it. So training has to be properly taken in. And if in terms of your clients, if we are able to give a trained manpower or not, I don't think anybody in my place or any security owner will ever say that we cannot give trained manpower in case the client is willing to pay the money required to. It is not pay the money required to us. It is pay the money required to retain the manpower. Again and again, the question is that it should not be perceived that I am talking more money to be paid. I am talking of the clients being aware that what is the retention amount required to ensure that man continues with them. Unfortunately, the reality situation is the clients say that we don't want the security personnel to be deployed more than 9 months. Every 9 months we want a manpower to be rotated. Now, that word rotated brings about challenges of itself, because that means on every monthly basis you need those many people coming in. So those many people will come in only if they're upskilled for that client according to the requirements of the client. So there are practical challenges that we have from both ends. When I'm talking to you today, I am being the voice of the people who are going to be providing manpower to your end users, and who are also my end users are also going to be hearing what I am saying. But really speaking, the answer is a 3 or 4 way process, where the people who are coming into this industry are trained properly at the district level. Once they are coming in here, they're coming into companies like mine and others who are in the organized sector, are then again upskilling them according to the client requirements. And then you are having a constant upskilling of these people, because if you do not train them on a fortnightly basis, monthly basis, the retention levels are low, the motivational levels are low. You have to keep on upskilling and training these people, because end of the day, it's yet to become a career job in terms of security. But things
Sudhir,
are changing.
Sudhir, if things are so bad, why one gets into this type of
Sir,
business?
can you? I can't hear you, sir. Is it?
Uh, I can hear you.
Yeah,
So
that's better.
my side mic and the speakers are okay. I can hear you. My question was that uh, from your perspective, things are not very rosy and promising, and a lot of troubles being faced. So why be in this business? Jokes apart, uh, I would be little straightforward and maybe little harsh. My question is that security service providers must get out of that mindset of grabbing the work order at any cost. I indicated creating USP. I indicated need to create niche. You have specific clientele, serve that clientele. That segment will give you good business. But you want to be mediocre and cheaper than the competitor, then this is going to be situation. Whereas you have manpower, you provided them minimum training, and then you claim that you are getting the minimum wage. These are the observations which I carry after 40 years service in the segment which provides you business end users. And I have again a feeling that those who are training your manpower then themselves need training. Themselves need training because training of trainers is very, very essential. And most of the security agencies engage those trainers who have served the industry PSI, not the end user. So they don't bring in the perspective of what customer needs. Whereas you need to train your manpower orienting towards the customer needs. But you end up training the manpower from the perspective of what principal employer wants. So naturally, they are reserved, they are timid, they are underconfident, and security is all about attitude. So, right attitude is to be developed only when someone says, like you indicated, uh, nine rotation after every 9 months. Few industries might be doing it, but we rotate the manpower because we are concerned about the labor laws. After certain days of continuous service, if there is no break in service, they will be deemed to be permanent employee.
Sure.
So you have to comply, and this is a factor which is well understood by the controlling authorities also of Pasara. जहां वो कहते हैं when they say that outsourced manpower is okay, it is no more illegal. Previously, it was watch and ward service. You cannot have a security service because watch and ward service was misnomer and misuse most of the time. Today, things have changed, and with these things changing, we need to change our attitude also because at the end of discussion for good 1 hour, I will ask one closing comment from you that security service provider segment, which is governed very capably by CAPSI, of which you are office bearer, need to do authentic survey. Need to do authentic survey in terms of what is the business, and it is going to be very cleverly hidden from you, because you say organized and unorganized. Focus on organized, those who are registered security agency. What is the quantum of business they are doing? What is the quantum of manpower at any given time? Have a benchmark, have a cutoff date. So then only you will have specific figures. So manpower, finances involved, and gender disparity, because slowly but very surely need is going to go high about lady security guard. It is not because a knee-jerk reaction of God, Supreme Court says even NDA or military school ladies are permitted. In fact, society is ready for ladies. People prefer to have lady security guard in RWAs. They have preference in malls, shopping complexes, residential complexes, and even in industry and corporate offices lobbies, where they want not the receptionists who have big problem. Again, not MCT approach. Beside looking beautiful, secure receptionists need to do lot many things. So many agencies, many organizations realize that lady security guard will do much better and much bigger job portfolio than a receptionist. So my question is, how you do that? Have authentic survey. I have not come across any authentic survey ever commissioned by CAPSI. Have authentic survey, and how you wish to do it. Because on gender disparity, I wanted to know, and I could not get any information from anywhere. So this is my question, that keep your agency, your members ready, and make them aware that quality conscious customers are ready knocking at your door, and you have to be ready. How they have to be ready, please share.
So we are doing it in the sense that yesterday only, in fact, earlier today, we had a major discussion on the posh also. These are things that are being done. Lady security, yes. Like I said, that at any given time, the lady security today, be it malls, be it hotels, be it theaters, be it schools, be it corporates, lady security are more than welcome. They are working. It is only in certain states where you are not beyond a particular industry and a particular time. Earlier, ladies were not allowed to even work. Today, those things are changing, but the clients have to be the process of pick up and drop of the ladies was the only challenge that was there, not in terms of they're actually working in this industry. This industry is very much already having ladies working for us. Their numbers is skewed, yes, because one, it's a two-way process. It's the sense that the client is willing to take them, we are willing to give them. It's not this way that if the client asks and we don't give, the ladies are being given, sir, and the ladies are being upscaled and paid on the same levels as that of the men. So there is no disparity. Yes, the problem that comes in certain places is that there is a general system of a 12-hour shift working in, and for ladies beyond 9 to 10 hours does become an issue. But then that is something that where a critical requirement of a lady and certain in terms of a reception, like you said. So the reception job is now being handled by lady executives who are doing security come the reception jobs. That is being, I mean, I myself am doing the same in my company, where we are actually giving lady security which is doing both these jobs, and they are now called front office executives. They are not called receptionists per se, but they're doing both the jobs and they are being trained accordingly. So yes, in terms of a survey that CAPSI can do, and we should try and figure out as to what is being done. I guess CAPSI, when the number games are being done, but the ratio is highly skewed at the moment in the security industry, where the ladies are not that many, and I think everybody should welcome them coming in. There should not be any problem as such working in this industry, sir, other than certain places where it might be difficult. Wherein maybe in a heavy industry, in a place where you are required major task forces men, because then in terms of people coming in, you need to do frisking, you need to do other things where the contact cannot be there, so there are but the same time, when we come into an export house where predominantly there's a huge intake of lady workforce, so the women security is automatic, gets deployed accordingly in schools, accordingly in hotels, accordingly in IT industry and finance segment sectors and all. So the ladies are being taken, and from cross section of society. It's not only the one is talking of people coming from only the guarding level. They are going right up to the executive level that this lady security are being deployed, sir.
Thank you, Sudhir.
So
Yeah. Thank you, Sudhir. It has been 1 hour plus discussion, very candid, very honest, and very spontaneous reaction from you. And I am very thankful for you sparing time. You might have seen the comments coming in, and I will show one by one again so that you pay attention to what was written. And these comments are mainly from Mr. Deepak Pandey. I'm very thankful, Deepak Pandey, you have spared time and you have gone through the whole discussion. And your comments are very relevant, very important, and concern for us is to address them one by one and keep our industry ready for coming times. And those coming times are challenging as well as interesting also, because experts say that corona is not going out anywhere anytime soon. So we will remain with corona, whether we love it or hate it. But we need to be ready, because post corona, things are not going to be as they were. And today's new normal is that security team must have diversification of their job areas, their job specifications. Today, a very clever and money conscious customer would like a security guard to do not only security guard's duty at the gate, but also, beside frisking, do the temperature checking, disinfect the person and material coming in, going out. They are also to respond odd hours when fire team is having heavy absenteeism to respond to fire calls. Things are going to go totally different than previous normal. Drones, many agencies will be engaging security agency to operate their drones. You need to be having trained manpower to handle drones. Many agencies will be, as part of norms, would be asking someone to sit at the security control room and create MIS, do the CCTV audit. Another, job opportunity or job specification being created, CCTV auditing. There might be soon another development, which is our command and control center. About 15 years back, a company in Mumbai started Central Command and Control Center concept. It has not taken off, but then this is going to be a thing. Entire European countries security industry is being addressed by central command and control concept, outsourced totally. Our customer also are going to get security technology on not on CAPEX model. It will be OPEX. No one is going to buy CCTV and end up, getting the outsourced manpower to maintain, utilize CCTV, maintain it, repair it. It will be totally OPEX. So industry needs to be ready. And about 20 years back, I asked the question in one seminar. Mr. DC Nath, the many security professionals might remember his name. And I asked the question whether normal security chiefs are going to be continuing the way they are, or IT professionals are going to take over from security chief's position. Today, if we are not ready, then those we very curious reasons we call techie dope. Those techie dopes are going to be head of security soon because they have the technology under their control, and they are very, very nimble fingers and very dexter in technology handling. We must not be lagged behind. So it is for security professionals as well as for and service security service providers, manpower or mantech, whatever job specifications they cater to or niche they have created, must be ready. And thank you, Veer. Subscribe to the channel, which is given in the description box. Wait for next equally important and interesting discussion with another security leader. Till then, thank you very much, and thanks for joining. And happy Diwali.
Thank you, sir.
If I may say so.
Thank you so much for having me on the show. Thank you.
Happy Diwali.